A tier list is out, y'all. My Hero Ultra Rumble has a new community tier list made by some of the biggest community members, things like Savior Zombie, King Zama, and Sai Ken, for instance. Coming forward, they're coming in with a big tier list that is making people a little mad, making people a little aggravated, but also helping to confirm a few opinions that people have made in the Ultra Rumble community. With that being said, let's get started. Some things to go over before we start. Yes, this tier list is going to be an S, A, B, and C. There is no S plus tier or A plus tier, which was going to be made, but seemingly got revoked at the time of making the thing. Also, the community tier list has been stated to take in mind mobility, range, and team synergy. Three very important things in this game. Starting off, we have the A tier of Froppy, Bakugo, Shoto, and Uraraka. Overall, very interesting picks. I do think that Bakugo and Shoto are definitely an S tier, and the same thing with Froppy as well. For different reasons. Bakugo and Todoroki are high damage dealers with good mobility, but they don't have the godlike mobility that our two rabbits do. Overall, the high damage from Bakugo and Todoroki, and the fact they are able to snipe from such a far distance, as well as be so oppressive in their damage, is true to their capabilities. Uraraka and Froppy, on the other hand, are the two blitzers of the game, characters that are able to go in the fight, do a lot of damage, and then get out whenever they need to. The only problem with Ochako that doesn't seem to be taken into account here is the bug that she has. She has an ability where her grapple is able to whisk her away to safety, except sometimes it doesn't really, and it's no fault on the player, it just sometimes doesn't work. Until they fix this, I can't safely say that Ochako is an S tier because it's unreliable. But I can see where they're coming from with the fact that they're able to just hold down different people and make it so they can't advance. That's the thing they share with Froppy as well. They can't really advance when Froppy's on the field because Ochako and Froppy are able to just hold an opponent in one place and essentially dash around them until they make them fall. A tier has a few more characters in it. We got Kirishima, Deku, All Might, Cementos, Ida, Toga, and Momo. Going with our defenders first, a lot of the defenders in the game seem to be here, and that's for good reason. These guys are strong, especially Kirishima, given the recent buffs, All Might with his mobility, and Deku with his all-around just good tools. These three are insanely good in Ultra Rumble, and absolutely are the ones that are helping make the break end of the tier list. Stuff that's like, okay, that separate you're good, and then the toplings are like you're absolutely insane. These are the three that kind of separate those guys, the borderline, if you will. Deku here is a bit of a weird pick, I think, especially since they're not as tanky as the other two, but with their damage and their mobility, I can see why they are insanely good in this game, and I thought they were going to be a little higher when it came to the community tier list, but seems like they're down here in A rank. That being said, there's another person in A rank that's a little odd, and that is Cementos and Momo. These two have been widely argued. Some people hate them, some people love them. I think that they are actually pretty good. They are very good characters, and are 100% worthy of A rank in this game. Cementos being able to support the team like almost no one else, and Momo absolutely using their shield to not only give cover to your allies, but also deal insane amounts of damage while also setting up a cannon afterward in order to do even more and have even more coverage is so strong. Ida and Toga are also very good here, but I don't know if I agree with Toga being A tier in particular. Toga's a bit of an interesting pick to put here. The fact that they have their dash and their assault rifle type attack makes them a bit weak in this game, considering their dash can only be extended by hitting an enemy. So you have to get into the fight in order to try to escape the fight. But it is good for knocking people down. That being said, the blood quirk kinda takes over for all of that. Being able to hit people above this is insane for you, but the problem comes in that in a solo fight, Toga's gonna have a hard time having the health advantage against any of these opponents, taking their blood, transforming into them, and then coming out to win the fight while the time limit is still up. And you still have to outskill the person that's playing the other character. So overall, I think Toga being an A tier is definitely a good place for them, considering how their blood quirk works. B tier, we're going with Mount Lady, Kirishima, Shigaraki, Dabi, Kendo, and Ibarra. Now, let's start off with Ibarra. Absolutely. I think they're a B tier. I think their kit, unfortunately, is not as good as the other characters, even though it is pretty decent and has some armor moves that do have true damage. So overall, it's going to be really hard to really say that Ibarra is bad per se, but they don't have the tools really that they need at long range, because they are a sniper, but they don't have any long range tools other than their shot that is very low on hits. So overall, it's why Shoto is just a much better sniper in my opinion. Kendo is a insanely good tank right now. With buffs to her shield, she has a pretty decent way of getting in on opponents now. But at the same time, it feels like it's not quite enough for them to reach the upper echelon. And I think that goes for a lot of the characters here as well. Mount Lady with their buff to the kick. Dabi with the buff to their alpha shot. Shigaraki and Dinky also being here as well. They have good things going for them. They're not bad characters at all. But it's just they don't reach the upper echelon of All Might, Deku, or heck, even Scratch, Bakugo, or Todoroki. Shigaraki's being limited to the ground, Dinky being limited to him needing to trap you in order to deal their big damage, Dabi being so defensive, and Mount Lady kind of having the big weakness of their giant mode, are insanely big weaknesses that help balance out the game very well, but don't make them as good as our S or A tiers. And I think that's why they're all stuck here in B tier, and I'd honestly have to agree with most of these picks. I think we may want to put Mount Lady and Kendo up in like an A tier position. If not them, then Shigaraki, because that damage is absolutely insane on Shigaraki. But other than that, I can see why anyone would argue that B tier would be where they to go. And then there's Compress, which really hurts, because Compress is someone that I really thought would be a much bigger threat after the buffs. They had their Alpha Shot buff and their Deflector buff, along with every one of the big three shots getting nerfed. So Todoroki, Bakugo, and Deku all having their shots nerfed on them. Meanwhile, Compress still struggles, and I think it's just due to their kit being more deflect-oriented. They have a movement ability, they have their lob shots, which don't have as much range, and they have a deflector skill, which relies on your opponent making a mistake. And I think that's the big reason why they're in C tier. I don't think the character is bad at all. I don't think any of these characters are at all bad. Just I could definitely see why Compress would be down in a C tier all to themselves, and it's really unfortunate for them. Yeah, that being said, that's what the community tier list is looking like. Keep in mind, any and all complaints go to King Zama, not me. But if you want to share your thoughts on any of the stuff that's going on, any of your thoughts of what I said on why I think that this is a pretty accurate tier list, albeit I think a few things could be a little bit changed, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully I'll see y'all later, and new My Hero videos coming out soon as well, so check those out. And if you're really interested in why I think some characters have not exactly 100% accurate here, please check out the video on the patch notes that I made and see what I thought about those things. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.